Hi, my name is John.
And I'm Lloyd.
And we are the hosts of Pint of Comics, a podcast all about pop culture. Lloyd, what do we do sometimes on Pint of Comics that people might want to know about before they listen?
Well, sometimes we drop spoilers and sometimes we swear like sailors.
So, if you're okay with that stuff, listen in and enjoy the show.
When leaving the theater, we suggest that the exit at the front of the auditorium will allow you easier access to the parking areas. Thank you.
They have murder boners for this kid.
It's already over budget, Mike.
Yeah. I put the Instagram of me watching the DVD the other night, and he's like, burn it when you're done.
This is a really bad IMDb summary.
Okay.
Dante's Peak is worse than Volcano.
Shut up.
Dante's Peak is worse.
You don't need to start
It's
fights
worse.
here, John. Shut up.
It's dumb.
No.
All right, I get excited.
I have to call the tower now to get permission to take off. Is that all right? San Antonio Tower, this is flight 146. San Antonio Tower, this is flight 146.
Jack, please come back. I can't do this on my own.
Tower,
I need your help.
Flight 146.
We interrupt your regularly scheduled Pint of Comics episode to bring you something different. I'm Mike Butler.
And I'm Mike Field.
And you're listening to the Forgotten Cinema's takeover of Pint of Comics. For the next 4 weeks, each episode we highlight a film that for a variety of reasons was forgotten by audiences. Whether it be because a more popular movie was released at the same time, or the movie simply didn't catch on with an audience in its initial run. We'll be joined on this journey by Al, a hologram that only Sam can see and hear. Wait, sorry. That's the Quantum Leap opening. We'll be joined by Pint of Comics' own John Amenta, and all of us will discuss what we love about the movie, or maybe don't love about it, but we'll always recommend you revisit it. If you enjoy these 4 episodes, you can find more Forgotten Cinema on all podcast platforms.
What up?
Nothing.
I forgot to ask you this last week, John, but do you like Quantum Leap?
Not as much as you.
God damn. How could you not like? Did you see it?
No, not the full thing.
It's one of the best TV series of all time.
Thank you. Thank you.
I got a problem with any TV show that in the last episode, the final
His text?
The text that they misspell the character's name.
Wait.
Oh yeah, look it up. Yeah, they misspelled Sam Beckett's name in that. That's just a fact. But I mean, I do.
He's still out there.
Yeah,
leaping.
That's the whole thing. I think it's 2 T's. They put 1. I believe. I don't know. I did enjoy it. I watched it when I was in high school, but it was more along the lines of not an every week thing. Like, okay, this one looks cool.
When it was on Sci-Fi Channel.
Well, they moved it. NBC moved it around.
I watched it on NBC.
NBC had it on Wednesdays, I think, and then they moved it to Fridays or something like that. They kind of screwed with it.
Well, it got killed by Star Trek, right?
They just never believed in it. But because Dean Stockwell recently passed away, I'm just going to take this as an offense, John.
I wouldn't take it as an offense. You still got what's his name is out there.
Scott Bakula.
Bakula's
the only reason I watched Enterprise was because he was in it.
Yeah.
I love Quantum Leap. It's
been a long road.
I love his episode of Always Sunny.
That's basically Quantum Leap. Yeah, come on. I can't believe you don't like Quantum Leap. That kind of hurts my feelings.
Don't dislike it. I said I don't like it as much as you because you guys.
It's awesome.
Again,
We mentioned it almost.
I listened to the show and you guys have touched on stuff.
Yeah, there's themes.
And somehow Quantum Leap pops up in
Quantum Leap. Star Trek.
Is it 13 episode seasons?
Not the. I think the first season was 7.
No. Your show.
13 episodes.
Yes.
Yeah.
A hard 8. You guys talk about Quantum Leap.
We probably bring it up.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Now I'm going to keep bringing it up.
He's still leaping, John.
I put it in the opening, so yeah. All right, so we are back, and we are doing the 1984 movie Cloak and Dagger.
We're doing a movie.
The family adventure. While his mother dead, excuse me, I said it wrong. With his mother dead and his father Hal Osborne busy working, this is already starting off great. 11-year-old Davy spends his time immersed in video games, often dreaming up espionage stories featuring imaginary spy Jack Black, who I thought they were saying Jack Black for like the first 20 minutes. Yeah. When Davy sees the murder of an FBI agent, the dying man hands him an Atari video game cartridge with military secrets. No one believes his story, and Davy is forced to go on the run, escaping from attempts on his life with Flack's guidance. Oh, yeah.
Yep. That's all correct.
That is accurate. Actually, that's actually not. I don't know if the guy was an FBI agent that handed him the cartridge. I think he was a scientist.
He was wearing a scientist's jacket.
Yeah, he wanted him to give that to the FBI.
Yeah, but other than that, it's actually not that bad of a synopsis. And we've been known to have bad synopsises on Forgotten Cinema. Not by our own. I just search them up on Google and read the first one.
We haven't written them since like season 1.
We tried to do our own, and those were terrible. Cloak and Dagger is a runtime of 101 minutes. It's rated PG, and we'll get to that. I couldn't find a production budget, so we're just going to pretend it was free. It was released on August 10th, 1984. That is a Friday. At opening weekend, it did $2.8 million and domestic $9.7 million. So who knows if it was a hit or not.
Did you read the note? You might have it in here, but I want to bring it up. The release was August 10th.
You're talking about the double bill?
Yeah.
I do have that.
A month earlier.
I actually have. I'll get to that.
Okay. All right. I get excited.
No, that's fine. That's fine. It was production company was Universal Pictures, was distributed by Universal Pictures. So what John was alluding to was the fact that this movie was released as a double bill with The Last Starfighter on July 13th. Then it came out on its own August 10th, and I think it had another re-release later on.
Okay, that I didn't read.
But I don't have that. I read that, and then I didn't write it down because I was like, I don't think that's important. But yeah, no, it was a double bill. Do you imagine that double? How much do you think that double bill cost back in 1984?
$450.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Ugh. Would you have gone seen that double bill, Cloak and Dagger and Last Starfighter?
Back then, yeah.
Yeah. If you don't know what The Last Starfighter is, just read Armada by Ernest Cline because he rips it off. All right, so so basically, what I did this I do this on a couple of our main episodes where we have 2 release dates. So I'm going to give you what came out during the limited release during the Last Starfighter double bill, and then we'll do the wide release as well, just to kind of see what it was up against. So on the 13th, which is when the double bill was, that was July 13th, it went up against The Muppets Take Manhattan. So I'm sure I know Butler has seen that. You've seen that?
Yeah, the lesser of the 3 original Muppet movies. Yeah, Muppet movie, Muppet Caper,
and Manhattan.
You don't include the Muppet movies that are now recent in that.
No, I think there was.
He said 3 original.
There are 3 original, and then you got like the Treasure Island and the Christmas one.
Themed.
Well, I guess you know what the best way to put it is: the Jim Henson is still alive Muppet movies.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Is that the best way to put it?
Well,
the Henson era,
nice.
The company era, and then the Disney era.
Correct. Yeah, the Jim Henson era, the Brian Henson era, and now the Disney era.
Did you watch the one that came out this year on Disney?
The Haunted Mansion one? It was definitely an ad for the ride, but it was actually a lot funnier than I think the last the TV show they did.
Did you watch that?
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was. I felt it was more like a special. I didn't feel like it was a movie.
Yeah,
it was short.
The jokes landed better than the series. Did you watch the series on Disney Plus?
No, I watched one episode of the series on ABC, the Office-y type series, and went, Muppets.
That was bad too.
Yeah.
The Disney Plus one's not bad. It's just trying to be too hip.
Yeah.
And the jokes don't land.
Okay, no, I
it's definitely more
funny.
Muppety Muppets.
It's funny that you say that because like I knew Disney Plus had a Muppet show coming out, and I was excited about it, and now you're like it's out, and it's not that great. So I missed it totally.
I think even that was affected by COVID, so they don't do it. They're stuck, and they don't do a lot. Their guests are very even from the Muppets because obviously people are right below it.
Right.
They're very separate, and just doesn't work as well as the Muppet show would.
Okay.
Excellent. All right. So the week after, the 20th, you had Best Defense, The Neverending Story, Electric Dreams, and a limited release, Revenge of the Nerds. Yeah, I'm sure.
A limited release?
For the well, you have to remember in the 80s, limited, sometimes they all came out limited a little bit. But yeah. The 29th of June, which was the week before, you had Cannonball Run 2. Did you ever see the Cannonball Runs?
The first one.
You never saw the second one? The
second one, no. Although it's a joke on The Good Place. That there's a medium place where the only tape is Cannonball Run 2.
Yes, yeah.
Interesting. You also had Conan the Destroyer and Bachelor Party. Okay, so for the wide release on August 10th, it went up against, check out this weekend, it went up against Red Dawn and the wide release of Revenge of the Nerds.
Okay.
How about that weekend?
Those are classics.
How about that weekend, right? You also had a limited release that weekend of Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension.
I really want to see that movie. I've never seen it.
Really? We could put it on the list. If you want.
Did you like it?
I haven't seen the whole thing.
Ooh, that makes.
And the stuff I watched, I was like, I don't know. It was during a time where I didn't watch movies because there was a time when I wasn't into film. I was into playing sports.
I was a jock.
Pretty much
beating up nerds.
You like movies? Getting that locker.
That's why I hated Revenge of the Nerds. August 17th, the weekend after, you had Tightrope, Sheena, The Woman in Red, and Dreamscape, which is on our list. Mm-hmm. And then the week before, August 3rd, you had Grandview USA, Joy of Sex, and in a limited release, The Philadelphia Experiment. That's pretty good. Or what's
Grandview USA? I feel like I've heard of
Grandview USA?
Grandview.
Couldn't tell you.
That sounds like some kind of racing, like car racing.
Maybe
thing.
That's why I've heard.
Yeah.
It's familiar.
So this movie was directed by Richard Franklin, who has done Psycho 2, FX 2, and Visitors. Do you like the FX movies?
Years ago when I
Yeah.
saw them, they were interesting. I have not seen them in
First
so long.
one's not bad.
Yeah, Brian Brown and Brian Dennehy, right?
Yeah. Brian Brown, Hot Off Cocktail.
Yeah, no, before Cocktail.
Yeah, you're right. Before
Yeah.
Cocktail. Yep.
That's what got him Cocktail.
Did you see any of the FX movies? Butler?
No, we had this conversation. You want me
No,
to?
we talk about these movies.
You didn't put them on the list, but I think you said you wanted to put the first one so that I'd watch
I'd
it.
put the first FX on the list. FX 2 is like, if you liked FX, you want to watch FX 2 because you want to see the characters again.
Yeah, more of the same.
But I got news for you. The only thing I remember from FX 2 is the opening with the clown controlling the. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, no.
The robot clown that he builds. That
I do
controls
remember
the
a robot
helicopter.
clown, yeah.
That's the only thing I remember from the second one. So anyways. So the screenplay and story for this movie was done by Tom Holland, who did Fright Night, the original Fright Night.
He's also Spider-Man. When I rented it on Xbox, because I think they just amalgamate everybody.
Sure.
It shows the actor Tom Holland. It shows his acting credits and his writing credits.
Yes. Well, obviously this
He's
Tom
prolific.
Holland passed away and then formed into the young Tom Holland for some kind of, I don't know, he's not the same person.
It's a multiverse thing.
He also did Child's Play and The Beast Within. The story is actually, so this is interesting. You know what? I'll get to the story after I get through all the credits in terms of like what this is based on. But the cinematography was Victor Kemper, who did The Friends of Eddie Coyle, another Friends of Eddie Coyle reference, Dog Day Afternoon, The Final Countdown, Butler, which we did, and Clue, which another episode we did for our audience, season 5 audience choice season, which we'll never do again. Composer was Brian May. He did Mad Max, Missing in Action 2, The Beginning, which is weird, and Dr. Giggles. Did you ever see Dr. Giggles?
Tell me it's a horror movie about a clown.
It's a horror movie about a dentist, right?
Yeah.
That's the worst.
With Larry Drake.
Larry Drake, yeah.
Oh, does he like kill people like torture people like the dentist from Little Shop of Horrors, essentially?
Worse.
Yeah. I always remember was the Dr. Giggles one where they shoved the thing down his throat with the.
I think so. Because wasn't there also a killer dentist movie with Corbin Burnson, I believe? That maybe
you're right.
was,
The Dentist.
Yeah, The Dentist. Yeah.
Edited by Andrew London, who did Rambo 3, The Meteor Man, and The Christmas Star. I know. Don't even talk about The Meteor Man. I want to hear it. And then produced by Alan Carr, who did Grease, Can't Stop the Music, and Where the Boys Are. So in this movie, you had Henry Thomas as Davy Osborne. Obviously, I think people would know he's from E.T., but he's also from 11/14, which is what we did, a movie we did, Butler.
Yep. I think a lot of people now would also know him from The Haunting of Hill House on Netflix.
Is that a TV show? Okay. I think I saw that. He's also in Fire in the Sky, but they should know him from Dr. Sleep because that movie's good. I like that movie. He plays Nicholson, basically. Yeah.
I've never seen any of that stuff, but he does that. That's that Mike Flanagan guy.
Yes.
He did The Haunting, and he did the current one, the Midnight Mass. He's in all of his stuff.
Good.
Yeah.
They're good buddies.
Yeah.
Did you see Dr. Sleep?
I own it. I have not seen it. And when I had COVID a few weeks ago, I kept wanting to put it in the director's version. It was 3 hours long. I kept on nodding off. So I just said, I'll wait until I'm a little bit more aware.
Sure.
Yeah.
You had Dabney Coleman playing Jack Flack and Hal Osborne. Coleman was in War Games, 9 to 5 on Golden Pond. Tootsie. He's also in the TV show Boardwalk Empire. Michael Murphy as Rice. He just gets one name, Rice. He's the bad guy. He's in MASH. Batman Returns, Butler.
Yeah.
Magnolia and White House Down. Kristen Nigra as Kim Gardner. She's the little girlfriend, not girlfriend, but the little girl / friend of Davy Osborne. She's in the TV show Out of This World. Do you remember that TV show?
Yes.
She plays one of the friends.
I have not seen this movie since I was a kid.
Okay.
One of the reasons why I put it out on my list
Sure.
of forgotten stuff, because I literally have kind of forgotten this movie.
Same here. I haven't forgotten it, but I hadn't seen it for
it had been a long time. So, but she's very recognizable. She was in the Twilight Zone movie.
Yes, that's
she's the little girl in the seat in front of him. Then, Mister.
Yep. She has okay.
Yeah. You had Eloy Casados as Alvarez. He's one of the bad guys who's chasing the kid down. He's in Hollywood Homicide, The Best of Times, which is the one we did.
Yep.
I think he was the wide receiver or the tight end or something like that, or maybe the running back. I can't remember.
You're just going to go through all the positions on
or
the
the left tackle, right tackle.
He might have been the kicker.
I remember he was in it, but I don't remember what he played.
He was also in White Man Can't Jump. I couldn't tell you what part, but that was another movie we did. Tim Rosevich is Haverman, who was in Night Shift, the TV show Magna Pia, and the TV show MacGyver. He's familiar because I think he was in a lot of 80s TV shows where
Two things
he's the
about
bad
him.
guy.
He was an actual NFL football player.
Yes.
Which you could tell by looking at him. And he's the brother of Rick Rossovich, who played Slider in Top Gun.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Nice.
Slider, you stink.
He also should not have wore that sweatpant combo in this movie.
No, totally agree.
Ooh, so menacing.
Yeah.
It's like you show up on set. What am I wearing? Just whatever you have on.
Yeah. I just got in from a workout. Like, good enough.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
You had William Forsythe, who's Bill Forsythe in this movie. I think this is one of his first films, obviously. He plays Morris. He's from The Rock, Raising Arizona, and Dick Tracy, another movie. A lot of callbacks to our films.
He's also on John Doe, which is a TV series that I think both of us really liked.
John Doe. I liked it. I wish they... I can't say the same for John Doe as we talk about when we talk about Brimstone a lot. I like Brimstone's premise a lot more.
John Doe would have gotten old after like 2 or 3
Do you remember that? You remember
I know both of them. I've never seen either one of them. I had a great interaction with William Forsythe at a comic book convention. I went to a show, I think it was in Rhode Island, and William Forsythe was sitting next to Michael Biehn. And Forsythe was sitting there reading. Nobody was talking to him. Michael Biehn had all these people with Aliens and Terminator and get everything signed. And I was looking, and I'm just I wanted to see Michael Biehn, see how he looked. So I got kind of close, look over, and I see William Forsythe. And he's reading a novel, with legs crossed. And he looks over at me. And I said to him, I said, hey, I've always loved you, man. I said, The Rock. I'm like, you've done so much great stuff. And he just looked at me and he went, and in the William Forsythe voice, he goes, thank you very much. And he just nodded and I went, have a good day, man. And he's like, you too. But it was just, it's like, he sounds like that
every time
in real life.
Yeah. Where was this?
I think Rhode Island Comic Con.
Oh, nice. You had John McIntyre as George McCready, one of the older, the elderly spy couple. He's in The Asphalt Jungle, Psycho, and Herbie Rides Again. And then you had Jeanette Nolan, who is Eunice McCready, they're actually married in real life. Oh, they were married in real life. She was in the 1948 Macbeth. She played the mother's voice in Psycho. She was the mom's voice in Psycho.
Cool. Oh.
Yeah.
And the other connection with Psycho in this?
Go ahead.
You said Richard Franklin did
directed Psycho 2, yep.
Henry Thomas played Norman Bates in 4.
Yep. And then he also was, Jeanette Nolan's also in The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. And then you had Robert Doquy, who plays Lieutenant Fleming. He's the cop that's like helping the father out, figuring out. I know him because he's in the 3 RoboCop. He plays the...
he's the staff sergeant.
Yeah.
I knew that guy.
Yeah. He's and then he's in Nashville. So I have a story credit for Cornell Woolrich. And Cornell Woolrich was a short story writer. And he wrote a short story called The Boy Cried Murder. And Universal owned the rights to that short. And that's the short, that's basically what this movie is basically based on. But they also did a movie called The Window that was based on that movie in 1949. They also did a movie called Eyewitness in 1970 that's based on the same short.
Wasn't this supposed to be a remake of The Window?
I think it's just basically, we've got this story, keep doing what you're doing.
From there.
But the reason why I wanted to bring him up is he actually wrote the short story that Rear Window is based on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he also did a novel. He wrote the novel The Bride Wore Black. And then he did the Original Sin. He did the novel called Waltz in the Darkness that Original Sin was based on, and The Bride Wore Black is a movie as well that's based on. So, I mean, if you go through, this is off topic, but I was going through all the stuff that he had done. He wrote a ton of stuff, and all these short stories that people were just using from the movies. I thought that was pretty cool. So that's Cornell Woolrich, if you want to look him up. I had not seen this movie in a while. You had not seen this movie, but we had both seen it.
Oh yeah.
Our friend over here, Butler, never heard of it. Never seen it.
Oh, wow.
Did not know anything about it. Butler, what'd you think?
First of all, just a disclaimer. I had just finished watching Glory right before I then put this movie on.
Great film.
Exactly. One of the greatest films.
That shouldn't affect Cloak and Dagger.
It did for a little bit. I was like, ugh. But that being said, if I was younger and I knew of this movie and my parents had the VHS for me.
If you were us.
Yeah.
I would have rewatched this on VHS ad nauseum. Even in the 90s. Even if this was just left over, even though it was the 80s, even in 94, when I was 10, not 10 years old, but 8 or 9, I would have watched the crap out of this movie because it's a movie that you can't get nowadays.
It's a little kid wish fulfillment.
It is, absolutely.
Yeah.
It puts him in danger. It's violent.
We'll talk about
sometimes too much, but to the point where I think no film now goes to any kind of extreme. I think that not maybe to the extreme now, but films today need that bit of danger that kids' films back then had, that no kid film nowadays has for the most part.
Right. I mean, I think one of the things that when you watch this movie is that you're watching it through different eyes than you did as a child. Yeah. And if you, like Butler's saying, if you're watching it as a kid, you don't think like the stuff that's going on in this movie, you don't think anything of it because you're like, oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. But like watching it, me as older, you're just like, holy cow.
He shoots a guy.
I know.
The first thing in this movie that immediately made me go, oh, that's uncomfortable, is how he goes into the office building in the beginning with a gun.
Yes, he's just
holding it, and like all of a sudden,
it's a fake gun. It's a paint gun. Yeah,
it's a paint gun in the movie. But and again, I'm thinking to myself as a kid, who knows how many times I ever maybe went somewhere with a fake gun that I shouldn't have had it with. But when you're watching it with 2022 eyes, you're like, school shooter. You're looking at this going, and then you're also paying attention to the fact that nobody's reacting.
The security guard sees him, and he's just like, look at this kid. But like that's the other thing too. One of my notes for that is I can see why they basically replaced fake guns to be like, they need to look fake. They can't look like real guns because like I'm like, oh
like a real
my
gun,
God.
I used to run around my entire neighborhood with fake guns, fake rifles, fake pistols. We'd go to the convenience store and buy gums and like burgers.
Put them up.
But we were little kids, so they didn't care.
Well, here's the other thing too. The fact that these kids are just allowed to run around downtown San Antonio.
They got a bus pass. It's fine.
My God. They're just kind of like, all right, whatever. Let's just go. I'm like, what?
You know what seems really crazy to me about that whole thing is that, look, when I was 11, me and my friends were allowed to go walk to the movie theater and ride bikes to here and there. Like, my parents were strict, but like there was a leniency if I was with like a group.
Limitation. Yeah,
there was a limitation. So Davey's 11, right? But to me, the little girl seems way maybe she's the same age and seems younger.
Yeah,
but like her getting on the bus by her, I'm like she's probably 8. Like, where is her fucking mother?
Especially, like, when she's going to the airport, it's clearly past 10 p.m.
Yeah.
Like, who's awake? No kid that age should be awake at that point.
And not just that, but, like, in today's day and age, right, the driver would be immediately like, why are you by yourself?
Exactly.
You know?
Authorities would have been
There would have been something happening.
Yeah.
This movie, it's funny. This movie is, this is what we joke about in the pint a lot. We call it an HBO movie. When I was a kid, it was on HBO every few hours, and I'd watch it all the time. And I have not seen it since I was a kid. So when I kind of put it out there that we're doing this for Forgotten February, so many people were like, Cloak and Dagger. And I'm like, watch it now, man.
Yeah,
because it, not to give away too much, but
sure.
I don't only think it doesn't hold up to your memories, but then you start thinking about the time difference and what we're talking about. It's insane.
I talk about this sometimes with there was one time we sat down and we watched I don't think it was dating my wife at the time, so she was my girlfriend at the time. We watched Secret of Nim and The Neverending Story. And like I liked both of them, but we were much older. And we watched Secret of Nim. I was like, I don't like Secret of Nim anymore. I couldn't like it anymore, because it's different eyes, different perspective, different sensibilities. I mean, The Neverending Story I was all right with it. There's some stuff that kind of doesn't hold up, but it's difficult with these movies because I don't want to discount this movie as this movie's not as good as I thought it was. Because I think there's stuff I liked it for a certain reason because it was fun, probably because it was on HBO, like you said.
Yeah, when you were 11 years old, you wanted to be the center, like the bad guys are coming after
spies
and I've got a gun and I've got a walkie-talkie and friends that are going to play with me and all that's very cool. But then when you get into the stuff that happens in this movie, he's got like the older friend who runs a video game. It's all weird.
Right. The Morris character.
I was waiting for Morris to be connected to one of the parents or something.
No.
Or a cousin.
No.
Yeah, he's just the dude.
Let me ask you that because it was your first time seeing it, Butler, so I know that because Morris in the movie, we spoil things. I don't care. Morris gets shot
right in the eye.
Well, that's what I'm asking. I remember seeing it right in the eye.
Oh, see, I don't remember that. I
think maybe I'm mixing up him and Mo Green from Godfather.
He definitely gets it. I don't remember if they show that or not. I mean, you mentioned it before, and you said we talk about how this movie stretches the PG. And PG-13 existed at this time, I think, right? Like,
is this past Temple of Doom? When
Temple of Doom was 84, so it was around the same time. Temple of Doom, I know I've said it. I think it's incorrect. I don't think Temple of Doom was the first PG-13 movie.
After Temple of Doom, they created PG-13 because of the uproar.
Well, I know that. Well, the note is that I think
go by. Dreamscape was.
Yeah, but the note I always go by is that Spielberg forced them to change it. He went in and talked to the MPA, and there was a big to-do about it because he didn't want Temple of Doom to be R.
Right.
And so I think I always Spielberg was part of that.
Right.
But I don't know if Temple of Doom was the first one. You said Dreamscape, that might be true. But yeah, this movie, you couldn't make this, you couldn't say this is a kid's movie if it was PG-13, not back then.
No,
Not 1904. So you wouldn't be able to sit. So I wonder if there was fights, because I don't have any of those notes in terms of, discussions with the MPA about keeping it PG.
But what PG is now isn't what PG was back then. If you look at it, there's no blood in the movie. Oh, there's a little bit on Morris when he's in the trunk.
Right.
But when he shoots, when both bad guys get shot, basically, by Henry.
Yeah.
Or not Henry, Davey.
Davey, yep.
There's no blood. There's very little blood in the movie. There's some violence. There's some action sequences.
He kills that rat.
He does shoot the rat. I felt bad for the rat.
The tone of this movie was off for me. Like in the very first scene when you meet Jack Flack.
Oh, there's blood in the beginning. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
When he drops, he falls. And the guy dies and falls.
The body.
Yeah, go ahead. We'll get to that because I got a couple notes about that scene. But go ahead about Jack Flack.
Well, just gonna say
Jack Black.
The first the first scene where you meet Jack Flack and it's that whole him infiltrating the embassy thing, and it's a dream sequence,
right?
I was under the assumption we were gonna get more of that. You know what I mean?
Right,
the same.
You're like, okay, this movie's gonna do this where every time Davey is in an adventure, you're going to see Jack Flack kind of just comes in and out of it.
Yeah.
It's very willy-nilly with the whole thing. You know what I mean? Like where it's like, it seems to be really important to him. In the end, it's important to the plot because Davey realizes he doesn't need him,
Correct.
And
his father's his hero.
Dad is his hero and all that.
And the dad's lesson of real heroes aren't those kind of violent characters.
Right.
Violence isn't the answer.
Which, what's funny is I get that now, but I didn't get that back then.
No, I wouldn't have either.
Yeah,
no, I wouldn't have either.
The opening. The woman that shoots him.
Yeah.
Was that a guy?
It was definitely a statuesque woman.
It was a handsome woman.
It was a handsome woman.
She was really tall.
Yeah, she was big. Yeah. Yep.
So that whole, but they're playing that game. They're playing like some kind of.
It's like a mix of like a card game and it's like a mixture of everything.
It seems like Cloak and Dagger is like a whole thing, like
a franchise.
Like there's a role playing game, and then there's a video game for the Atari 5200. And let's not forget, let's mention that this is like a commercial.
Oh, totally
for the fucking Atari.
Atari wasn't making a Cloak and Dagger game. They had a different game.
The note I had is that the game they used, so they went to Atari and they were like, "What games you got? We want to make a movie." And the game they had was called Agent X because that's what Flack's name is in the.
That's his code name.
He says that used to be his code name.
So they tweaked that game and renamed it Cloak and Dagger, and they released it after the movie. But that was so basically they had a game, they used that Agent X game as the basis for this movie, and then they just kind of released the Cloak and Dagger.
But they were never able to release a cart. They only released
not of the 5200
game,
because Atari collapsed after that, right after that. Yeah, but the plan was to release a 5200 game. Yeah, absolutely. Because in the video store. They had the video game store. They had the boxes of Cloak and Dagger, but they also had the box of. There was another game there, and that game wasn't released as well because they collapsed. Yes,
because of ET.
I was gonna say it's
I played
very
that
funny.
game. I played that game.
I played it too.
Boring.
It's
the ET game.
Yeah, I played it.
It's very similar to the Raiders of the Lost Ark game, which is also not good. You Raiders of the Lost Ark game. You opened up a walkthrough, and it was like. One page, but it was basically floor to ceiling length. And it's like basically follow these steps or you'll never pass this game.
Yeah.
I hated the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
You talked about the 5200. It wasn't ready yet. So in the movie, when Morris is playing the game on the computer, that's actually there's an arcade box there.
It's hidden, yeah.
Yeah, that's the game is being pumped in from the arcade version to his over. Yeah, because they didn't have the. So I thought that was interesting too as well.
I wonder if the retro game site we've gone on before has the.
Oh, you mean like game. On the online?
That retrogames.cz game that has all the old rights-free stuff?
Russ Lyman, does he have a 5200?
I don't know. I never had. I always had the 2600.
I was in the Intellivision family. We had the Intellivision.
I didn't have Intellivision. I didn't have. I had the Nintendo, the first one, but I played ColecoVision for.
Okay.
I would always go over to my friend's house and play ColecoVision, big time.
Most of my friends were Atari people. Yeah, 2600.
Oh, I had the 2600.
I never did. We had an Intellivision. It was the other.
I hated when the rubber cover of the Atari joystick fell off and you're using that plastic. I hated that.
Oh, we never had the covers. We were always just playing.
Oh, really?
No cover, yeah.
No, you're special.
No, I'm not. I didn't have the cover.
John, what did you? I guess from somebody who had seen it before. I know you kind of talked about a little bit of like what kind of didn't hold up, but what's something that did hold up? How about that? Nothing. Did anything hold? Did anything change for you positively?
Honestly, not really. I've got to be honest. I'm not going to come across as negative on this movie.
It's too late, John.
But it definitely didn't. I had a hard time holding my interest.
Okay.
Like I'm the kind of person when I watch a movie, and I found myself like grabbing my phone at certain points.
Second screening it?
Yeah, like, and I don't normally do that. And, you know, being a podcaster and, you know, you guys know, obviously watching movies kind of for like part-time free job. I try to make sure I watch the movie completely and pay attention. And I did do that. But this was one of those ones where I was actively like, okay, let's wrap it up. You know what I mean? Cause it just felt like it was a lot of the same happening, you know, you know, they need the cartridge. He's got the cartridge. He's having issues with his dad. You know, he gets his little friend in trouble. Back and forth. The kind of semi-ridiculous set piece of the murder on the tour boat that like they're just switching seats for 10 minutes
right.
Yeah,
you know,
too long. Yeah.
I love when he breaks up the couple making out. Like, why would you move? Why would you move?
Yeah, it's just the whole thing, you know, and then you find out that the true villains are on the tour boat as well, and it all seemed really contrived. And honestly, by the time we get to the end, which is like starting at the Rice character and Football Hall of Fame guy going or the other guy going after him at like the riverfront.
Yeah.
To the point where he gets to the most pre-2001 airport ever because there's no security. There's not. You could go.
I need to go to this gate. Okay.
Yeah. There's just like a desk.
Those were the days.
For me, it just dragged. That last 20 minutes was just like paced horribly. And
that's because there's 10 minutes left on the clock and you do have 20 minutes left on the clock.
My note at the end is like 11:57's been a good 10 minutes. There was some time slowed down.
With the bomb, you know, thing. And then just little things that were bothering me, like the, you know, the bomb and the little girl's walkie-talkie that is every 2 seconds beeping. Like, who the fuck wouldn't grab that and I got to shut this off?
I couldn't tell if it was beeping for us or it was beeping in the movie. I didn't know if, you know what I mean? Like, I couldn't tell, like, what they were saying there.
That didn't bother you as much as the fact that they put C4 in her walkie-talkie and no one knows. It just suddenly appears in the walkie-talkie. Oh, don't worry, I handled that. When? When did you handle that? At what point in time?
Well, let me take it back to the beginning in terms of the first murder where the guy comes out and he gives Davey the cartridge and tells him to get it to somebody and blah, blah, blah. And then he falls 10 flights, which is a horrific fall. Explodes. Head explodes. There's blood everywhere. Davey runs out and is like, oh my God, there's a murder. They go in there. It's all cleaned up. It's like
immediately.
2 seconds. Yeah. 2 seconds.
That was a little bit like, oof. Now, this is, again, it's supposed to be a kid's film, you know, so, okay. But my question is going to be towards the end of this whole entire episode. My question is going to be, I'm going to give it to you. Is this really a kid's movie?
Yeah. For back then, absolutely.
I don't think so. I think this is a thriller that stars kids.
Yeah.
But like, and I can see what you're saying because as a kid, I loved it. I ate it up, man.
Yeah.
I loved it. But man, like, I don't know if I was remembering all the violent, like as soon as the whole death scene happens where he hands him the cartridge, right? And then he goes and falls. In my head, I'm thinking, oh, the goons are going to be like these like bumbling guys chasing. They start shooting at him immediately. Trying to kill him.
They really want to kill kids. They're really into it.
Yeah, like it's like no hesitation.
These guys really want to.
What are we doing here, man?
But that was movies back then.
Hey, Alvarez, why are we killing them? Why are we shooting these guys?
The villains were villains. Like Field and I talk about this all the time. And Field has different opinions than me. But kids' movies today are sissy bullshit for kids. They pamper kids and teach them that the world is all sunshine and pancakes and roses and great things, and there's no danger, no matter what kind of movie they're watching for kids. Whereas when I was a kid, even in the 90s and early 2000s, Goosebumps, Are You Afraid of the Dark, there were movies not quite as horrific as Cloak and Dagger, but there were still movies where there was danger to the child. Home Alone could never exist today in the way it did back then because they were going to kill the kid.
Well, not that I'm trying to put you on the spot, but give me a movie that so I can have a reference point. Like, give me a movie that you're saying that was whatever what do you call it? A sissy, terrible, whatever.
Anything today. What kids movie presents kids in danger where they're actually in danger of being harmed, maimed,
being
or
shot?
Killed?
Yeah.
There's nothing in this days. Kids can never be harmed. There's no danger in the world, and that's what you're teaching children.
Dr. Sleep had that.
That's not a kid's movie.
I understand that.
You need to present that to children. That there's the only thing I can think of is maybe some episodes of Doctor Who,
right,
where they're like, these kids are now statues, or these kids are dead.
But here's the problem too. Like I get that, and I agree with you.
And before you begin, I do agree that Cloak and Dagger does go overboard.
Kids movies now, the movies are put out now because kids are the biggest driving force to go to the theater. Let's just put COVID to the side for a second. They're going to go there because they want to see it, and parents are very helicoptery these days, because they talk about how one of the things I read, I don't know why I'm getting into this, but one of the things I read is a lot of people, like a lot of Gen X parents, which I am one, because their parents just like, we're like latchkey kids. We're Gen X, we go home and do whatever. I love that. But like some parents, now that grew up that way, don't want to do that with their children. So they're more like over them, making sure that everything's okay. Trust me, I don't agree with that, but they're very cognizant of what their kids are going to see in the theater. So something like a Cloak and Dagger, let's not say Cloak and Dagger the way it is now, coming out now, but let's just say it's maybe half of the violence. Okay. You know what I mean? Same premise, but half the violence. They're still going to be up in arms. They're not going to make that type of movie because they know that the parents aren't going to bring the kids to the movie to make money.
What's stupid, though, is every kid has seen Scream. Every kid looks at the Scream poster walking through my theater going, I want to see that. I saw the first one.
My wife is an art teacher, and she has kids that come in and talk about how they've watched Stranger Things, and these kids are in elementary school, how they've watched Stranger Things, how they watched The Walking Dead, how they watched Rick and Morty. So, no, I get that.
Yeah, but then they're not presented with dilemmas in children's films.
Sure, I understand that.
But maybe that's why they gravitate toward those more violent films, because children's films aren't filling that void of that kind of stuff.
Go ahead, John.
So to take like the timeliness out of it, like we're talking about.
Yeah.
You just said you're a parent. You have a younger son. How old's your son?
He's 10.
10. Okay, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Would you show him Cloak and Dagger? And do you think your son would like Cloak and Dagger?
I think he would like it, but I think I would get a lot of questions of, that's fake, right? That's fake, right? That's fake, right? That's fake. That's not real. That's not real. He's a very sensitive boy, which I appreciate. He's not like a jerk. So I think it would scare him. And I think maybe if something scares him, he's like, can we turn that off? Like, it would be something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'll be honest, like, I won't show them, I want to show them things, but I won't do it because I don't want to be up at 1 a.m. because they have a nightmare. And you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. So I think he would, but I think he'd have to be reassured.
So I think that maybe goes to show a little bit about maybe the viewing habits of kids today, that a movie like Cloak and Dagger wouldn't bother you or me back then.
True.
And even if your son's a little bit more sensitive.
True, yeah.
That like even say someone with a little bit of a lesser sensitivity rating, you might be like afraid to show them this because, they're like he said, the henchmen they have murder boners for this kid.
They for every kid.
At one point, they're literally talking about how if they're going to kill him, they should get paid more. Yeah. They're like, I'm fine with killing him, but why don't we get more out of this? So I guess that was my thought. Was
the description of how he's going to murder Davy at the end is just the icing.
I'm going to shoot off your kneecaps.
Your kneecaps. It's going to be a pain worse than death. Then I'm going to shoot you in the stomach. You're going to beg for death as you bleed out into the floor, and I'm just going to watch you die.
Yeah, because that's another really conflicting moment when Davy kills him. Because you're like, well,
I don't want to do it.
He did what he had to do. He didn't want to do it. But it's like, in the movie today, does he kill the bad guy?
No. Not on purpose. Not
today? No. Accident or he doesn't kill him.
Oh, sorry.
He disables him. He shoots him in the leg. I shot you in the knee.
But that's not even, let's take
today
away.
The kid does not get the gun.
Let's take away the kid aspect of it. And if this is a hero journey, even adult heroes in movies today, there has to be like, or they have to have that moment where they say, no, I'm not going to kill you in cold blood. Yeah, but then they wrestle for the gun and then it goes off. That kind
even of Bond doesn't kill Blofeld at the end of Spectre. Like, you just don't have that anymore.
Right.
But which is fine. That's not a bad thing.
I think one of the things I like about television, and I can't bring up a specific top, like a lot of times, like when that action is taken where the good guy kills the bad guy or whatever, and something happens. Like they do, like the next season does sometimes
the repercussions.
Spends time on the repercussions of the hero where like you made that decision and now you've got to live with it. I do like that when they do that. So they're able to do that more in television than in movies.
Because you carry on, yeah.
Well, you have a longer arc.
The thing with Davey, too, is that he takes a lot of the stuff that's happening to him really well. To the point where, like, okay, maybe you are 10 flights up with that guy falling and you're not, you weren't close. So, okay, maybe I can understand that. It's out of thought, out of mind. But you're in the trunk with Morris, a dead body.
Yeah.
And it's no big deal, and you're cracking jokes about like, oh, there's no room in here, and then Jack Flack's in there with you, and I'm just like,
how does Jack Flack hold the door open for Davey?
Now we can get to that. Let's get to Jack Flack because there, obviously we have seen Fight Club, and obviously for the people who have not seen Fight Club, turn this off. But he's obviously Tyler Durden, and so obviously they go back and they show like all the stuff that he was imagining Tyler doing. He talks about how the fact like, oh, I would pretend that I would notice Tyler doing stuff, but I was doing it, and they cut back all that stuff. But like there are moments in this movie, and the biggest one, the egregious one, is at the end where he kicks out he holds the door open, but he kicks out the back seat.
Yep.
Like, I just assumed it was Davey doing it.
Wait, does he kick out the back seat?
The back seat of the car when he's in the trunk gets pushed forward.
Oh, I thought Davey just pushes it.
Well, no.
Either way.
Flack's the one that comes first. But my thing is that I'm assuming it's Davey, but he's pretending that Flack's doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the case.
Davey's got some super strength.
Well, how the fuck does, here's a question. How does Davey get the bad guy to shoot at Jack Flack?
How does he see Jack Flack?
Right.
Well, he questions that, and Jack Flack says, I guess he had more imagination than I thought. It's just a throwaway. But Davey also does this a lot. And then goes, Jack, no. And maybe the guy's just reacting. You never really know.
No, because he turns over there.
But it does look like he sees Jack.
And he's like, what?
Yeah,
and then he shoots.
Yeah, there was a moment there, again, not remembering, where I'm like, oh, is he...
It's inconsistent.
Did he come into existence for a second, and this guy's actually killing Jack, and it's going to be the Tyler Durden shot in the cheek thing where this brings Davey back together.
Davey gets shot in the cheek.
You met me at a very strange time in my life.
But it has to be Helena Bonham Carter's character, like as an adult.
Yeah.
I will say this though, I do like that when. I don't like how they get to this moment in terms of the ending, as you're talking about when he shoots the wall out and he thinks he sees Jack Flack. I'm talking about Rice, the bad guy. But I actually do like when Davey admits to himself that he doesn't need Jack Flack, and Jack Flack starts bleeding because from the gunshot. I do like that.
Oh, it actually is a great moment where because Jack tricks him into killing the bad guy. He basically
the entire time,
yeah, he talks him into it. And that's the moment where Davey's like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
I don't want to do this anymore at all. And, I don't need you. And yeah, you're right. That was actually a pretty powerful scene.
Right. That's the one thing watching it now as an adult with, as you say, as a father. And one of the notes I have here about that, and I'll get to it, but is the father-son stuff. It's the stuff with Hal Osborne as Dabney Coleman and Henry Thomas, and how, his realization, just the whole fact that, you don't need to be a spy to be a hero, that kind of thing, regular guy. And Hal has that line in the beginning, I believe, when they're in the bedroom where who the heroes are, the people that put food on the table, that kind of stuff, which is the same sentiment now. I do appreciate that now as an adult than I did probably back then. Probably back then as a kid, I was like, shut up, Dad.
Yeah, you're not Jack Black.
Exactly. Dabney Coleman would always have people coming up to him telling him that how the movie was a big time favorite because they would watch it with their sons or they watch it with their fathers, and how they was like. So he would always get people telling him that I really love that movie because it was such a movie that connected me with my father, or my father with me with my son, like that kind of thing. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So
you probably like that since he mostly plays villains.
What? Coleman?
Yeah.
I like Dabney Coleman. I've always liked
I like
Dabney
him too,
Coleman,
but I'm sure he appreciates being like the hero for once.
But even in War Games, I don't think he's the villain. I just think he's
he
funny.
almost never plays a villain truly. He always plays a jerk off.
The jerk,
he's a jerk.
Yeah.
But he sometimes comes around. But he didn't get along with the director in this movie.
I read that quote. Was hilarious too. I did read that quote where he said he starts talking about, and Richard Franklin had died, so he's talking about. He's like, well, that movie I didn't get along with the director. He goes, he passed on. He goes. He was a real, and he goes, he passed on. I'm not going to say that. He didn't like this guy at all.
Yeah, no. But that's the other thing too. We talk about just to kind of, I think this is going to be the theme of this episode, is just the debating whether this is a kid's film or how hard it is, how hard it goes, how strong it goes. As Butler said, that Richard Franklin doesn't do kids films. Like he was doing, you know what I mean?
Right,
He did horror films
too.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So I don't think maybe his sensibilities weren't, I'm not interested in doing a feel-good kids film, because those were out back then. Like the 80s, I know that we're talking about, you know what I mean? Yeah. But I think there's a little less, again,
this is to the extreme of the violence torture,
right?
Obviously.
I think there was a little less of if you didn't like it, don't go see it, that kind of thing. That was how it should be. If you don't like it, don't go see it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If you don't think it's for kids, don't bring your kid, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Another one that I should have watched the trailer for, because I wonder what the marketing on this was, because. Again, you got a movie starring Henry Thomas, the star of E.T.
2 years, right
2 years after E.T.
Was this his next film?
There was one in between, and I didn't recognize what. I looked it up. I didn't write it down. I didn't recognize it.
Right.
Nothing big. He did this, and it is. It's not a kid's movie. There's so much stuff in it and again, it's a kid's wish fulfillment movie.
Yeah.
Especially a 1985 kids movie. Man, I remember watching this and thinking, man. Walking around town, taking buses, having a walkie-talkie, doing this stuff with your friends. This is the stuff that you wanted to do with your friends.
You imagined, you pretended you did. Yeah, you played around like that.
Yeah, the Goonies. You think about the Goonies, like a crew of friends going on an adventure. That's very much like the idea behind this Except, well, in the Goonies, they're trying to murder them too, but
exactly.
It's a little lesser, like, I guess, in your face.
Yeah, this is the extreme.
But but in the Goonies, the kids are scared.
Yeah.
More. Like, Davy doesn't really Davy gets to a point where, like, nobody's believing him.
Davy has a mental issue where he sees an imaginary murderer convincing him to kill two people.
My note here is that he's going to need therapy because he's witnessed multiple deaths. And he's killed a man.
Oh, yeah.
These guys need to die. Davy, why aren't you killing these men?
Yeah.
He's going to need therapy.
Or he's going to become the America's best secret weapon.
But, like, even when, like, when he's talking to his dad and he's, like, talking about how, like, oh, this happened and this happened and this happened and then you got to believe me, they gave me this, watch this game. And he starts playing the game. I'm the father. I'm like, we're going to a location.
Oh, absolutely. It's just, I'm on level, I got to get to level 3. Just let me get to level 3.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
Well, the dad did say he had an appointment coming up next Wednesday. We have the appointment with Dr. Whoever.
But you get the feeling, too, that his father is in over his head. His mother dies, and it's just them, and he's got to work his full-time job. He's got to leave his kid alone. It's just, you almost get the sense that he's just hanging on.
Right. You know and you get the sense, too, that even before the mother died, probably Davy is one of these kids that's, like, just constantly half the time in a dream world.
Oh, yeah, because he said mom would believe me, so it's clearly happened before.
He's constantly having, like... Jack Flack hasn't just popped up in his world.
Right.
It's not a defense mechanism. It's just gotten worse. Since the mom died.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I don't know why I'm laughing at that. Well, let's talk about the end real quick since we're on Hal Osborn. That is the most slow motion fire I've ever seen.
It's such a soundstage when he walks up and he's suddenly in the spotlight.
Yeah,
there's no light, and then
I get what you're trying to do there.
Yeah, no, it didn't work.
But like at one point the fire slowed down where it was like
a glitch.
It stopped.
Yeah,
going.
Yep,
going. I mean, you didn't have another. You couldn't just keep it going. I mean, what's going on here?
That's my last note. That is the worst slow motion I've ever seen in any film.
Yeah,
the stop and go.
No, I will counter that because I mentioned this last week that I watched Capricorn 1. When we were talking about Outland, the ending of Capricorn 1 ends with the slow motion, and it's bad. It's like it's like slow motion cut back, and then like the slow motion starts going like I'm like, what is happening? And so
jerk motion.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But yeah, no, it was that stuff when he's walking out. I'm just like, all right. I mean, I get it. It's a great moment. It's
it's nice. It's a nice moment. It does not work at all in the way they filmed it.
And I don't want to come down on an 80s film with the special effects because we know what you could do and couldn't do back then.
Right. So. I think one of the greatest parts about the end of the movie is the fact that nobody can overpower this 85-year-old guy. I as I watched it, my wife was kind of half watching it with me, and she's like, "Man, that guy's and I go, he's like really old. Just grab at his arm, his skin. I guarantee his skin is tissue paper. Just pull at his arm. He'll start bleeding out. He'll die right there. Honestly."
So while we're talking about the two, so they sell secrets. They basically, Rice is selling them that secret. They're in it together, or
the couple's in it together. Rice is selling them. He doesn't really know them.
Yeah, they're couriers.
They're just couriers. They're the couriers. Rice has gotten the cartridge, which I find funny too, because it's just weird seeing a movie like this where they keep calling it a tape.
Because they don't know what to call the cartridge.
Because back then, what was it called? The cart back then?
Grown-ups didn't know what to call it.
Right. Yeah. And it looked like it was like the stealth Blackbird or something.
Well, it's an invisible. I got that note. It's the Invisible Bomber Project in the movie, but it is very similar to the United States Air Force SR-71 Blackbird. But at the time they didn't know this, but it was designed to be a stealth. Like they didn't know it was going to be designed to be a stealth aircraft.
Oh, really?
And then it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I love that note.
Yeah. So if you pause it, when in the movie when Morse finds it, the Invisible Bomber plans reference FLIR, forward-looking infrared pod. Well, obviously that didn't exist back then, but it's now a well-known component of military attack.
Really?
Craft. Yeah.
Clear cameras, infrared.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Cloak and Dagger. You did something right.
But with the spies, I wanted to. You talked about the riverboat scene, how they were on there, right? You said that?
I said that.
You said that.
I mean, they are. That's a fact.
Well, why? Why are they there?
That's what I said. Why?
Why? I don't. There's no reason for them to be.
No. There. Why are they at the Alamo? Why any?
I think they're taking a tour of San Antonio on their way to
killing time.
Killing time.
Well, their flight's midnight.
Their flight's at midnight,
Yeah.
and they mention, "Oh, we're gonna have to cancel our dinner plans."
Yeah.
So I think they're just taking a tour of San Antonio while
And they
waiting
happen to run
get
into this.
Yeah.
So, we'll do the pickup at the Alamo because we're just gonna be at the Alamo checking out what the Alamo's about.
But so the outside of the Alamo, they're one of the last movies to shoot right outside the Alamo.
Yeah, the Alamo is considered like holy ground by certain.
Inside, you can't do the inside.
Yeah. So they had to recreate the tour scene at a Universal lot. They built all that up.
Okay.
But outside, when they drive up, like that road is now closed off, but it was able to be driven up and walk in. That's in front of the Alamo. Anything outside's the Alamo, but inside is in Universal.
Okay.
The last thing I've seen with the Alamo is when the movie went there, the only shot was like a satellite, like not a satellite, but like a helicopter shot. It was so far away.
What movie?
Remember what movie it was.
What, Pee-wee's Big Adventure?
No, it was a modern movie.
Yeah.
I asked my wife as we watched this. I said, "What did Pee Wee learn the Alamo does not have?" She's like, "I don't remember." I'm like, "A basement.
There's no basement in the Alamo." God, I can't believe I remember that. So you guys liked video games, right?
Butler's. Yeah, Butler,
I don't like video games.
Did you
I was games.
I was
Did you
a
ever
fan,
have
yeah.
a poster of Pole Position up on your wall?
No.
I'm like, what?
Well, that's before my time, but no.
That was one thing I noticed, and then the other thing I noticed was when what's the girl's name again? Kim.
Kimmy?
Kimmy?
Yeah.
Is it Kim? Or Lisa? No, Kim. So when Kim's at breakfast and she's like talking to her mom and she's eating that, I'm like, oh yeah, all kids love toasted wheat and raisins.
Yeah.
Like that's the cereal she's eating. But the size of the juice box,
Yeah.
that was when they made him well, Butler. Yeah. Holy cow, that was big.
I thought one of the best scenes in the movie. One of the best scenes in the movie was the dialogue between her and her mom.
Yes.
Where she's like,
he's not your type.
Yeah, he's not your type, by the way. I'm like, and then she's like, "How do you know he's not my type?" I'm like, wow, this is actually like they're going further than you think they would go.
Yeah.
You know, and like when the mom's like, does he always act like that? She's like, well, all the other boys in the neighborhood are boring. I was like, I like this little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you like Henry? Do you think Henry Thomas did his own stunt for running across the street? And that's when he's at the street and they're just, the cars are going and Jack Black runs, "Come on, let's go." And he just starts running and all the cars are like squealing to a stop. I mean, I know they're stunt drivers, but I'm asking you, do you think that was Henry Thomas doing that?
Yeah.
Back then, yeah.
He turns to Jack.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine doing that now?
He killed the ET kid.
God.
I read a note. I don't know if you read this, and it's weird if it's true, but they said they shot in San Antonio because it's Henry Thomas's hometown.
I read that it was his hometown.
I don't know if it was because. I think they shot there, but it was his hometown.
The one I read said because. I'm like, you're gonna take a whatever $20 million movie and go, this kid lived here. You know,
Is
what I
that
mean?
how popular E.T. was?
Yeah.
I don't know if he grew up in San Antonio or Austin.
Okay,
but I know that it was close to where he lived.
Okay,
where he grew up. But I don't know if it was because of that. Yeah, I mean, you don't think it's a kids movie, John, right?
No.
And do you, Butler?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it goes a little too far, but I think it's again, you can't make it today, but I think it is absolutely a kids movie from the 80s because like John said, it's kid wish fulfillment. And I think it does go a little too violent.
Okay.
I mean, I think the crossfire
What's too much? What's too violent for you?
We're talking 80s style, right?
Okay.
So 80s style. The crossfire murder, get him in the crossfire. Fine.
The crossfire gambit is dumb.
It's dumb because he's shooting the ground, waiting to go up. He should have just boom.
He's like, "Hey man, you can't hit anything." I'm like, "What are you doing?" And then he's like zigzagging. I'm like, "What is this?"
But at the same time, all right, it's super 80s. That works.
Yeah.
Him shooting the guy in the face, that's too far. The guy telling him how he's going to kill the kid.
I'm going to disembowel you with my teeth.
That's too far. But I think overall it is absolutely a kids movie. And I think you get I love the scene when Davey gets in the car and he's driving. And he's trying to get up the parking garage. It's the worst slow state.
Dude,
don't shoot my car.
I love
and then
that
he crashes 8 times and he's just, give me the gun.
No, but yeah, and then he shoot, and they still shoot. Yeah, like, "Hey man, what are you, crazy?"
It's like
because then he hears him crash like 8 times. He's just like,
it's like 10 minutes of him crashing.
I know.
Yeah, and another thing I love about older movies that whenever I see an older movie, I always love is how back in the day, like the cars didn't have the tempered glass. So when someone goes through the glass, it's just fucking glass, and it just smashes everywhere.
Or how it was 50 cents for that boat ride for kids.
50 cents, yeah.
Yep.
How much do you think it is now?
7.
Yeah.
7.
17.
Yeah, you're right.
17 for kids, 20 for adults.
Yeah, probably.
Speaking of kids, and when Alvarez is one of the bad guys, straight up opens fire at broad daylight at him when he's running down the stairs.
Oh yeah, but then covers it up like, oh wait.
Well, yeah, like that was the thing. Like, okay, I get it. like I understand shooting at him, but like you just don't care about shooting like anyone else seeing you shoot at him.
He really wants to kill the kid.
They totally.
What about the kid? Like even when Davey's on the bus with Kim, it's like we don't need the kid anymore. It's fine. Just take him out. It's like why do you need to take him out? Isn't that more exposure toward you?
There's the whole scene in the beginning.
Just get the video game cartridge and leave.
When Hank goes to work, it's like a horror movie. When they start coming through he runs through the door,
not even trying to hide it.
The father,
break
Hal?
everything.
Hal, I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, no,
they're stealing super military street secrets. They don't have a lockpick.
No, I know these guys suck. These guys suck. I think in the end, I think this is wish fulfillment for kids. I can see where a kid can watch this. So I guess my answer is this. Maybe they made this as a kid's movie. I don't think it's a kid's movie. I think they ended up making an adult thriller that stars a kid.
Okay, let me ask this. Let me ask this. Do you think that, let's say we're remaking this now.
Yeah.
And like, hey, we're going to do Cloak and Dagger, everyone, not the TV show. We're going to do Cloak and Dagger, everyone. Do you just go straight R? You just go right to an R? And
no.
You can do it two ways. You could go straight R, where it would have to be way over the top.
Yeah.
Or you could do a PG version where...
Well, what's a PG version?
It's going to have to be... sissified. It's going to be like the worst.
Sissified.
I was going to say
central.
I was going to say blunt it.
Yeah.
But I was going to like
kid, give me that disc, or I'm gonna put you in this room and lock you up.
So it's going to be goofy.
The three bad guys are like they run into each other. There's no guns.
It's going to be Disney plus Home Alone.
Okay, no, you're giving me the movie that you think executives that don't know how to tell stories are doing.
Because that's what the executives are going to do.
I'm not asking that question. I'm asking what movie would you do?
Then they're going to try to kill the kids at some point, but not until the very. They're not going to want.
So you would go R rating? PG.
No. Okay, you're saying what I would do.
I'm asking. Yeah, not saying what you.
The kids would be put in danger, but not to the extent where the movie goes.
If I were going to go R, I would have to make Davey like 18, like or 17, like
18, like 15, like it's freshman.
Maybe a little
make him a teenager,
middle school kid.
He's so young for those guys.
Really young.
And you're gonna have to kill one of Davey's friends.
Yeah,
Davey's gonna have like 3 or 4 friends. And
I shot your friend in the kneecap.
Yeah.
Morris is gonna have to be his buddy, not like this weird older gentleman that is a friend of
Morris was a big swing and a miss because.
But that's William Forsythe. He's being like a weird nerd. I've never seen that.
Who doesn't mind his store well, by the way?
No, not at all. I'll be right out. He not only sits in the back and plays games. He sits in the back and plays games with his head facing the other way.
Yeah.
How about the fact that after he does the sale, he rushes back? I gotta go.
I got a game to make.
I think with the Forsythe thing, they were going for nerdy adult that owns a video game store, but it came across as more as guy that owns windowless van. I felt like when every time they show it with those Coke bottle glass, he looks like Harry Knowles.
But he never acted creepy though. He didn't come off. But
you remember the story of the white paneled van that drove around and picked up the kid.
Oh yeah,
that was one person. But they made it seem like in every city, in every every state, kids were getting abducted, and like you were like frightening. You're scared out of your mind when you were a kid.
Yeah. I just think it's one of those things, though, when you look back on it with adult eyes, you're like, why is he hanging out with this guy?
That happens in a lot of movies from back then, though.
I should mention, though, that was a Quantum Leap episode.
Oh,
do you remember that? The kid?
I do.
Yeah, the guy from Blossom? All right,
I just want to let you guys know, in case you don't know, that you guys have a site called ForgottenEntertainment.com.
Yes.
And you have several shows on there.
Yeah.
Quantum Leap is an idea.
I was going to say, nobody's stopping you from doing a Quantum Leap.
It's been proposed. He's stopping us from doing it.
All right.
It has been proposed.
You want to go do a Quantum Leap podcast? Go ahead. I don't have time to. I don't think I
don't have time. I don't have time. Says the man with no job.
Oh, F you. I have a job. He always likes to bring that up. It's great. It's fantastic. I love hearing it.
I love talking.
All right. So you would go PG.
I would go kids, put them in danger, but not
John, you would go PG-13R?
Yeah, I would go. I could see a case for either way.
Yeah.
You totally blunt it down, like you said, Cloak and Dagger, sweet Cloak and Dagger, like Home Alone, Sweet Home Alone.
Oh, that movie's terrible.
But I'm saying you really dumb it down, you really make it a kid's thing, or you make the kid character a little bit older. So that, nobody should be murdering a 16-year-old, but it's a little bit more palatable than an 11-year-old. And you change it up a little bit.
Right.
Well, do you think that this movie is a movie that maybe deserves a remake or deserves a redo?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of get it done.
I think it's an interesting plot line.
I've watched Home Sweet Home Alone. It's awful.
No clue.
It's awful.
But that's what you have to do, because you can't put Kevin McAllister in those same situations from 1992.
But what this movie did the Home Sweet Home Alone made the Kevin McAllister, the kid that's supposed to be his character, the bad guy, and they made the wet band. It's like, oh, I feel bad for them. And
that's how you have to do it.
That's terrible. Well, I mean, for a bad movie, so
you can't have villains. There are no villains in this world for kids.
They're there. Oh, they're there. They're their parents. So I guess the two things, the takeaway, Butler. I kind of jumping back to that, but you were saying that when it goes over the top was when he shoots the guy. When the guy explains to him he's going to kill him. Right?
The explanation of the murder is ridiculous.
And then the
Would have scared the shit out of me.
So basically,
the crossfire thing I think is the line. That's not crossing the line, but it's close.
Okay.
Him finally actually, like John said, if he shot him in the kneecaps, even in the 80s, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Shooting him and killing him was not cool.
Yeah, it was.
But the description of the murder is over. Like that's the one part in the movie that when I was a kid would have been like, what? What's he saying?
Yeah, it's heavy.
Yeah, that's way too much.
So
sometimes dialogue is worse than action.
So this is a movie that's probably more about, in terms of, it doesn't hold up because it's of the time, but it doesn't translate well for future audiences.
Yes.
Yeah. Would you agree with that?
I agree with that.
John,
And I agree with also the fact that it kind of spins its wheels a lot. Like,
well,
the middle of it when he's running away from the guys is way too long. And also it could have been an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But also the ending with the time, how it would just kept getting longer, even though it was like 5 minutes, but it was like 20.
The most 27-minute. And the wires are useless in the C4. He pulls out both wires and it's still going.
Yeah.
But why are there wires?
But the whole thing with the when he steals the car, okay, and then he's driving away, and then he crashes the car, and then he runs away, and then he gets into the cab. But we'll get to that maybe later. But then the bad guys drive up to the car, like, let's go, we got to go get him, and they leave the car there. It's like, your car has a dead body in it, and it's going to be, police are going to come over there and look at it because it's caused a crash.
You mentioned it before, the whole hug at the end and the credits. That's all nice, but there is so much to unpack after this.
Well,
Davy's going to court. He still murdered a guy.
Yeah, Davy killed a guy. He's got now he's already, like you said, there's something already wrong there.
There's
now
a
that's
session
on top of it.
Hal's going to be questioned as a father.
He is never going to be able to see the Kimmy girl again, ever.
Oh, that mom's not letting
that mom. If that mom is smart, she's leaving Texas.
You're watching the movie like, oh, the mom and the dad are going to get together. Nope.
No, she's going to sue them.
ever come near my daughter again.
Pretty much. I don't want to be involved. Like when the old guy was holding Davy and George, when George was holding Davy, had the gun, and then the other guy walked up and him, George shoots him. I thought he shot him in the groin.
He shows him in the upper thigh for sure, which is not a good place to shoot
But they cut
somebody.
back to him and he's like, my leg. And I'm like, okay, good, because I thought he shot him right in the groin. Like, he was aiming for it. Get away from me, kid.
Well, he was shaking. George was shaking.
I love the fact that it almost becomes a comic relief bit that nobody will listen to Davy about the walkie-talkie having the bomb in it. Because he keeps trying to say it. And they're like, they keep cutting him off. And then like, George, get back here. And he goes back. He's like, I don't know what to do. It's just like, well, throw it off the plane, man.
Yeah.
I love at the end when they're putting the dad's putting Davy off the plane, and he's like, "Dad, come with me. I'll never fit, son." And he puts his whole body through to get Davy off the plane. It's like, you clearly fit. You're halfway out. Just
that's
go.
the thing. How did he get out? So where do we?
He clearly went. Oh wait, no wait.
I can't.
Can I fit through that window?
Well, yeah. How did he get out? How did he walk away from the? That's a whole other thing. And one of my favorite bits is he takes Davy, puts him out the window. He drops him right in front of the landing gear. I was like, oof.
That's a drop too. That's not easy.
Oh no, that's a hard drop. You gotta recalibrate, and then the wheels are coming.
Well, that's the thing. Davy moves toward the wheel and goes, "Oh no, the other way."
Was that him or was that an act?
That was him.
No, that was him. Just throw Henry Thomas out the
They're
plane.
in a Twilight Zone, that kid.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine the director be like, no, just dodge to the side, Henry.
Yeah,
we're fine.
The left or the right? Yeah, just dodge.
Whatever. Either way,
we'll get it. We'll get it in the frame.
I actually like although it's a bad effect, I do like that the father turns from Jack Flack back into the dad. I think that's a really cool transition.
Yeah.
Although poorly done, it's crap.
It's fine. I don't have a problem with the transition of Jack Flack to him. I just have a problem with the bad effect of the explosion.
The explosion in the slow-mo is bad.
The fireball at some point has to go down.
Yeah.
It's the most powerful C4 of all time. That was the secret military weapon they should have actually stolen.
And
wait, what does happen? The cartridge gets blown up then, right?
What does?
Oh no, the cartridge is still
in a trunk somewhere, right? Or no?
No,
is it with the old guy?
Oh, the old guy.
Oh, okay, so it does blow up.
It does blow up. But the ending, so they hug, and that's the end. Granted, what you think about the movie, I kind of wanted a little bit more.
I did it as well. I didn't think it needed the
I
Rocky
needed a
moment.
wrap up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Rocky moment was crap.
I don't know if you could have a wrap up just because there's so much like negative stuff about to happen. Like
He's like in a straitjacket.
Like the wrap up is like Hal's getting arrested. Davy's getting put into like a padded room.
Well, kid movie style. If this
maybe
was
I need that.
as a kid's movie from the 80s, the dad and the mom kind of flirt a little bit. Davy and Kim kind of hug, and then the cops find like the charred remains of like a thing and go, "The FBI's here," and they're like, "Oh, thank you," and they go up to Davy and they shake his hand and say, "Thank you, son. You just saved the country."
Right.
If that's going to be the wish fulfillment that the movie is trying to be, that's how it is.
Yeah.
Well, the cops aren't going to do that because the cops have no idea.
Well, that's why the FBI has now stormed.
You're right.
Came out of nowhere, flew in from Washington D.C. We just came in, 2-hour flash drive all the way to San Antonio. We're here. You've just done this country a service, son. Thank you. You're going to meet the president next week.
When they're playing the game in the beginning,
I got to play that game, but it looks like it sucks.
Level 1.
But no, not the Agent X game. Although you never played it. Did you ever play it?
No, did you?
No.
It looks like terrible, but I want to try.
I didn't even know what he was doing. When
It looks like he just. It looks like you go on a treadmill and you try to get the money part and not get hit by the bad guys.
Yeah,
that's what spies do.
and it had all the Atari sound effects too.
Oh yeah.
When he's playing the board game, the Dungeons and Dragons game thing.
Yeah.
He's a cheater. She's like, you can't do that. Yeah, I can't do whatever I want. Jack Flag.
It was a 15.
Yeah.
It counts. I won.
It counts. I win. I'm like, you just cheated, man.
Look, Jack. Well, that's kind of comes to the end when Jack Flag's just a bad influence.
Yeah,
he makes him murder a guy.
You gotta kill him, kid. You gotta kill him. You kill it? Did you kill him yet? Did you kill him yet?
Jack Flag's like, you killed him. You might want to kill the rest of his family too. I have their address.
Although Jack Flag does give him some advice, like you're running into a dead end, and David just ignores him, or like you're gonna get out of the car. You're gonna want to get out of the car. People are coming after you. Get out of the car, and then drags him out of the car.
Yeah,
he's an invisible friend. How does he drag him out of the car?
Well, that's the thing. We just talked about that. Like, there's inconsistencies with the.
Is Davy so strong? Maybe Davy has The Shining. Maybe he created Jack Flag.
Maybe
that's how the bad guys saw him at the end. Is his powers just went haywire?
One of the most realistic things about the whole movie, I'll say this, and I think Field will understand what I'm saying. You're too young. The style of shirt that Davy's wearing was issued to all kids our age back in like the 80s. Like I had like 6 different colors of that striped shirt.
I have pictures of me at 3 years old. That was up to 1990, like 2 or 3. I have childhood photos with that same shirt.
He also wears that shirt the entire movie, and we go days. And he also sleeps in that shirt.
The movie is only, even though it seems like it should be 8 days, the movie's only 3 days long.
Okay, he can't change his shirt when he wakes up in the morning.
No, or he's a cartoon character and he wears the same.
He's Dennis the Menace.
Neil Gaiman reviewed this movie for Imagine Magazine and stated that director Richard Franklin's fascination with Alfred Hitchcock continues and echoes lines and themes of Hitchcock films crop up all through this engaging and enjoyable film. So my question is, where are the Hitchcock moments in this movie?
It's Rear Window.
Yeah,
he sees the murder and he has to deal with it.
Specifically that first scene with the what was it, a mirror on the other side?
It was a mirrored building, and it confused the crap out of me until the very end. Yeah, it was poorly.
But that whole bit is Hitchcockian. Like, he sees the fact that he can see himself, and then he can see what's happening above him, and then how after they shoot him, the guy comes out from above, above him on the stairs, and all that. But I mean, and again, it's a thriller.
The innocent man thrust to do stuff above and beyond what most people have to do.
Yeah,
She's definitely
the kid, being Davy.
Yeah. It's what's the one where the plane flies over the guy in the field?
North by Northwest.
It's very North by Northwest in that kind of idea of like being thrust into a plot.
I like your explanation. The plane flies over his head.
I got you. That's the most iconic. But
I got you.
Because he's thrust into a thing that he's not supposed to be involved in either in that film, and that's kind of what Davy is. It's so many themes that are Hitchcockian, which makes sense for a director like that.
Do you think that this movie might have been better if the father and son there was an adult character with Davy experiencing this?
Yes.
You think so? I think it would have been less.
Nobody believes Davy. No one wants to help him at all.
It would definitely help in today's if the movie was set in today's day and age, explaining how Davy's doing all this stuff.
Morris should have been. If Morris was more of a major character,
maybe
less creepy, more father, like maybe a brother-in-law or an old friend of the father or something like that.
Right, okay, yep.
And just been like kind of his caretaker.
Or even like an older brother, an older sibling, like 16.
Almost like that, yeah. And like he had to be thrust along at some point. Maybe not at first. He didn't believe him at first, but then by the time that the robbers punch through the front door like it was cardboard.
Yeah.
Because clearly it was cardboard.
When Rossovich like Kool-Aid through that door, I laughed out loud.
Well, let me ask you this then. How about this question? Well, do you agree with what he was saying about John about with the older adult and the?
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's ask this question because a lot of times, like movies now are, my kids' movies maybe, but like movies now, like it's a lot of realism. There's a lot more onus on just it being like a realistic experience, something that like would really happen. Okay, a lot of '80s films, adventure films, or movies that are like films or are stories, or big time like serialized stories. You know, like there's a kind of an adventure element, like a what if element. Do you think that this movie benefits from that kind of like, I know you're saying like this wouldn't happen, this wouldn't happen, this would happen, but do you think that because we're so used to realistic films now for kids movies that like maybe like, because back then it's more of like I'm gonna say Indiana Jones, but it's not that, but you know what I mean, like that adventure aspect.
Here's what I would say: the closest film that I've seen in a long time to this kind of movie is probably Ghostbusters, the new Ghostbusters Afterlife, because the kids are put in danger where it's actual danger. When I said that, I've never seen a film like that since. That was a very recent film, but
no, I haven't seen that movie.
I know but I would say that you're right in that the realism toward it, the way they feel, that's absolutely something that modern films do way better. Kids might not be put in the same kind of danger that maybe the real world might really present to them,
right? But
they experience things more realistically in films today than Davey did back then. Although Davey did go, I don't want to kill this guy. I don't want to kill. Toward the end,
sure.
It gets it takes too long to get to that. It takes too long for him to be a child. Whereas children in today's films are actually, kids, and adults are adults.
Right.
And I mean, do you agree with that?
Yeah.
But see, now we grew up on that. We grew up on those type of films. And like now when you see the type
That's
of
why
film,
we all have issues.
No. I'm saying like that adventure style. But now when you see films like that, it's like Jungle Cruise or it's like, Jumanji. And while I do like Jumanji, I didn't like Jungle Cruise. Like it's not like what's a movie that's like Jungle Cruise? Let's say that kind of action adventure that's for kids. That doesn't feature adults. That's actually for kids. Yeah.
Ghostbusters or Stranger Things, but Stranger Things is for adults.
But would you like Ghostbusters? And now I haven't seen it, so I'm going by not seeing the Ghostbusters Afterlife is what you call it.
Afterlife, yes.
Would you like Ghostbusters Afterlife if let's replace the lasers that they fire with guns, with weapons? Like that's the thing. Like that's the difference. It
depends on the story. Like
I got you.
That's so focused on the ghosts, it's hard to say.
Okay, well let's say they're not fighting ghosts, they're fighting terrorists, and they all have weapons and M16s.
So it's Red Dawn. They already remade Red Dawn. Red Dawn sucked.
Well, but
also they made everybody older, like we were already.
That's because Red Dawn sucks. Red Dawn was not good because the talent that was in the original Red Dawn was like iconic Brat Pack kind of talent.
No,
you know what I mean? Like
I'm just saying
can't
in general.
Compare anybody in that.
But also they made Chris Hemsworth was one of the it's definitely like you made him way older already.
Listen, I like Chris Hemsworth, but like. I'm gonna.
He ain't no 84 Patrick.
No,
Swayze.
I know, and it's like, and he becomes homogenized once you enter the Marvel universe, the MCU.
Oh, for sure. That's why Men in Black International.
While it puts a lot of money in their pocket, and that's fantastic, it affects their legacy in terms of like Patrick Swayze is just like Roadhouse,
right?
Next of Kin, even though that's not
great, Point Break.
Point Break. I'm going Dirty Dancing. Like Chris Hemsworth is Thor 2. Thor 3, Avengers.
Although his Extraction is getting something, which I haven't seen.
No, I know, but that's but you get one of those movies out of 5 MCU films. But with Patrick Swayze, it's all different things and new characters and new. Like that's what I'm saying.
No, I get that.
We're getting down that topic again, but
I'm saying that what I'm saying is Red Dawn gave you more adult characters. So I can't think of the last movie where people were put in that kind of situation.
Right.
But like if it was a situation with guns, yes, I would like
Stranger Things does that.
Look,
but Stranger Things isn't for kids, but it's also not for kids.
I got you.
Tell me if I'm wrong here.
I would watch that with my kids, but I'd have to be in the room with them.
Yeah.
This is kind of like my, I guess, final idea on Cloak and Dagger is that it has a very cool central concept that everything else can be worked on.
I agree.
Like you start at the center and you take that center and you take what they did and you look at it all and go, okay, he could use an adult with him, make him a little older, go one way or the other, make it a little funnier, and go that way. So I think the conceit is good.
It can be done better.
A Cloak and Dagger multiverse?
but the execution just doesn't hold up.
Agreed.
Yeah. All three of us get the same premise. We have to make 3 different films based on the same Cloak and Dagger.
Yeah. Well, not that I'm trying to to denigrate Richard Franklin or anybody that made this movie, but maybe you're dealing with people that maybe couldn't handle that kind of film that wasn't their wheelhouse.
Right.
Kind of
I
thing.
do agree with the director, definitely, for sure.
So like maybe that's an aspect too, but I think it's a good enough premise, like you said, that I wouldn't mind seeing it again.
Yeah.
But like I don't know. But see, here's the thing: I don't know with modern filmmaker sensibilities. I don't think you're going to get the movie I want to get. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I'm going to get something I don't like, and it's going to be something. Whether it's going to be something, oh, it's like this film, and it's not that good. It's not. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I hear what you're saying. Absolutely. So I guess the question of why do you think it's forgotten? It's pretty much
too
self-explanatory.
violent.
Yeah,
It's
too violent.
Too much.
You think people won't show their kids? That's why they just forget about it. But what about like people that grew up with it that loved the movie? You don't think that? I mean, you talked about how you posted how you were watching it, John.
Oh,
and
yeah,
you got a bunch of people who were coming at you like, "Oh, that's great."
They're psyched about the episode, and it's like there's movies that when I was a kid I watched a million times, and I brought along with me my whole life.
Yeah.
Right? Johnny Dangerously, stuff like that.
Yep.
Stuff that I always loved and I still love today.
Yep.
And there's stuff like Cloak and Dagger that I saw a trillion times as a kid. And here at 46 years old, when I rewatched it, I didn't remember 90% of it.
Right.
Like just a weird like little thing is when the old lady takes the glove off and he has the three fingers.
Yeah.
That was like, it shocked me because I went, I remember this. This is from this movie.
This is what I remember.
But in the end, I think that it's too violent. I think that maybe people our age can still enjoy it, but like you said before, if I had a kid, I can't picture just having watched this and going, let's sit down and watch this together.
Right.
Because it's too much.
Yeah.
Here's my question. Do you think that's why I didn't know about it when I was a kid? Because I watched E.T., I watched Last Star.
Your parents kept it in the liquor cabinet locked up.
Like, I watched all these kids from the early 80s. All the kids. Yeah, films from the early 80s that were for kids.
Right.
But not this one.
Well, that's a question for your parents.
Yeah.
Like, explore.
Maybe they didn't like it.
Or, yeah, maybe they saw it and just were like, this sucks, or this is too violent.
Honey, do you think today's the day we show Michael Cloak and Dagger?
Yeah.
And your dad's like, it's never the day to show Michael Cloak and Dagger.
Because and my parents weren't like, you can't watch this. I watched all those I watched Aliens when I was a kid, and I just couldn't watch certain scenes that were maybe a little too much.
Well, but like, Aliens is like, again, like, we're talking about
science fiction monsters. They're not actual humans.
Henry Thomas shoots a guy in the face in this movie.
Is it because the violence that Davy does that separates it from the violence that the adults do or that people do?
Yeah.
Is it because the kid is too violent?
Yeah.
Well, that, and again, as we mentioned, several times, the villain soliloquy,
the villain soliloquy would have scared the shit out of me as a kid.
I'm going to wear your skin.
I would have that nightmare.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, yeah, all good points. I agree. I mean, it's tough for me to defend it. Like, what you're saying is accurate. So, man, I'm not.
I'm glad I watched it. I liked it.
I think it's definitely a film that if you had not seen it, you should watch it.
If you like that era of film, it works.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So I came up with the master list.
Yeah.
And then gave it to you guys. Who picked this one?
You did, right?
No, I picked Outland because I'd always wanted to see Outland.
Okay, so you picked this one.
I think I picked it because
I hadn't seen it.
I don't know if I knew you hadn't seen it, but I liked picking older films that. I like, Cloak and Dagger. I haven't seen that in a while. I'd love to talk about it. And I just kind of like
more conversation stuff. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, I think, this is a movie that I didn't have a lot of notes in terms of technical aspects, but I knew that we were going to be talking about
story stuff
the story stuff. And actually, because this is one of the films that we talked about it for like 20 minutes about just kind of like, is it a kid's movie? Like its place. It's tough to categorize it. It's tough to figure it out.
Yeah. This one is definitely like a square peg in a round hole.
Like weird. I know you said you were second screening, which no shame. I don't tell.
I will say very little. I did pay attention to this whole movie.
Don't tell Andrew Morgan of the Nomcast. I second screen most Netflix films because they're just sometimes they're not great. Don't tell him that I said that. I'm sure he's not listening. Are you listening, Andrew? But yeah, I was glad that I watched it again. Like I was glad that I went back to it.
Yeah.
Because I was actually like, cool, Cloak and Dagger. Like, I wanted to watch it. So I'm glad we did it. But, that being said, I agree with it. It does have a lot of problems. But, but like 10-year-old me probably still loves it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's a version of you somewhere in the multiverse that is watching it right
backed
now.
against the wall going, I got a gun, you son.
All right, Butler, where can they find us?
You can find us at ForgottenCinemaPodcast.com or ForgottenEntertainment.com, as we are part of the Forgotten Entertainment family.
Nice.
You can check out all the other awesome podcasts from ForgottenEntertainment.com, including On the QT by John Amenta, where we talk about Quentin Tarantino movies. You and I are on 2 different episodes, and they have different podcast guests every episode. John and his co-star Lloyd. And you can find us everywhere else you get your podcasts, as well as Pint of Comics, I imagine. Everywhere podcasts are available.
We're everywhere.
Oh, my God, yes.
Everywhere.
Check us out everywhere. Review us everywhere.
Yeah.
Go to every single different podcast platform and give us a subscription.
Spotify doesn't know. Five stars.
5 stars.
And join us next week where we're going to be doing the 1994 movie The Chase. Spoiler alert, this movie blows. So get ready.
This is a movie I liked as a kid.
Oh, well, you're an idiot. So
I was 10?
Yeah, well,
9.
Like I said,
95?
you're
9.
an idiot. I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And this has been Forgotten Cinema's takeover of Pint of Comics.